Hello, everyone. My guest today is Jose Baptista. He's the co-founder and CEO of a company called Freshdeal, and previously at Fruitspot, leading Agtech startups focused on the produce industry. He's built and led digital businesses worth over $2 billion for leading brands like P&G, Google, Nike, Coke, and Diageo. I hope I said that right, Jose. Are you ready to take us to the top?
Yeah,
did I get that last brand right?
Diageo.
Diageo, very good. All right, so tell us about the company. What's Freshdeal do, and what's your business model? How do you make money?
Yeah, 40% of everything planted, especially fruit and vegetable, is wasted. Never gets to a consumer. So Freshdeal is basically a platform to enable or to make trade possible. One of the major reasons why things are wasted is basically trade is not efficient. It's hard to connect. It's very volatile. So Freshdeal is basically a platform to connect and trade.
And what's the revenue model?
Yeah, we actually have a diversified revenue model. So we have a SaaS model, obviously. We have a membership. And then on top of that, we have a percentage of sales, especially for our secure payments. We have an ecosystem of partners that actually pay us affiliate fees. And the last one is actually we have high touch services that our users pay us, basically back office.
Yep. Does SaaS make up, call it, more than 70% of the revenue?
Well, right now we actually will start monetizing after the summer. So
okay.
We actually haven't started.
Got it. So pre-revenue at this point.
Yep.
On all channels or just on the SaaS channel?
All of them. We've made a little bit of revenue on high touch services. Got
it. Well, look, this is how most companies start. It's like an agency model first, right? So let's get more of the backstory here. When did you launch the company?
We've been working on this for about 3 years.
Okay. Now I have to ask the question. I mean, you must have raised capital or something. How have you paid yourself over 3 years with no revenue?
Yeah. I mean, we bootstrapped for about 1.5 years, and then we raised $250,000 last year.
Okay. And what were you able to show that enabled people to get confident to put in that money pre-revenue? What did you spend that first 1.5 years building?
It was very interesting growth. Basically, we grew every 6 months. We doubled our user base. We currently have about 6,000 companies on the platform,
but all free.
Currently, all free. Yeah, and we've enabled about $100 million in trade or new business for them.
Okay, and you haven't. So those revenue streams you just gave me, like $100 million in trade. If you took 2% of that, it's $2 million. You haven't taken any of that. Why not?
We actually learned the first year, as part of what we did before monetizing, we learned that users are very adverse to actually us taking a fee. So we actually added a little bit of value with safe payments, escrow, et cetera, to actually be able to take that fee. Got
it. And what fee do you think you'll be able to take now moving forward?
The fee will probably be somewhere around 5%.
5%. Okay, got it. And that's just a function of, again, the value added services you've coded into the platform.
Exactly.
Okay, good. What's the team size today?
We actually have downsized. We had 10 people. Uh-huh. Most of them actually based in Valencia. We have 2 offices, New York and Valencia in Spain. Now we are currently 5. 5
people. Okay, I was about to say, $250,000 raise pre-revenue. If you want to stay afloat, you got to make some serious changes here. That must have been tough. Why? A lot of people make this mistake, by the way. They raise some capital, then they overhire, then they have to go back down, which is painful. Walk me through some of those pain points. What would you have changed about your hiring in the first place?
Yeah. Well, the first part, very interesting, is actually I merged with a competitor. So Fruitspot was my original platform, and it actually merged with Freshdeal. So that way we covered Europe and North America. I was North America. Out of that, some of the talent was already in. And so we just kept going with that. Uh-huh. If I actually could change some things, I would have raised capital a little earlier to build out a team in North America, which is what we're doing right now.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you don't mind me asking, I mean, what the hell was merging? Or were they both pre-revenue? What was actually coming together?
Yeah, basically, I had the design and a very unique platform in terms of the user experience. And they were actually about to close the round of funding. So it was a good...
The 200, the 250.
Yeah.
Where are they today? Are they still active or no?
Yeah. We're still a team. We actually... merged pretty well.
How do you have the equity conversation? This is kind of a unique situation.
Yeah, it has been tough. We actually had to have some tough conversations, but basically we split it 50-50 in a way.
Okay, so kind of their group, whether it was one founder or 2 or 5, got 50%. Your group kind of got 50%, and then each side decided kind of who they would split that 50% amongst?
Exactly.
I see. Now you are sole founder on your side, right? I mean, you have 50% today of the bigger company.
No, I have a little less because it was 50% of North American business. So it's about 25%.
I see. Okay. Interesting. And why go through all this versus just just start your own company, start over, start a new idea?
You mean Freshdeal in total or the merger?
Yeah, well, yeah, you built all this thing up yourself and then you're saying, hey, let's merge. They're about to close a round of capital. So you're going to have other investors in the cap table. I mean, why not just keep doing your own thing? Why did you need to merge it?
To me, one of the things this is my first entrepreneurial project. It's lonely. I needed a team. I actually worked with them for a few months before merging, and I was really convinced about how they thought. So I needed a team. I needed partners. If
you don't mind me asking, because I want to drill deeper on this, you're in such a unique spot. You're ex-corporate, though. I mean, you had some big logos in your bio, right? So, I mean, is it true for me to say you're coming from a very safe 6-figure kind of salary in corporate, and this whole thing is like you're like a fish out of water a little bit?
I don't feel like a fish out of water.
You were.
But I was maybe at the beginning. Yeah. And yes, you're right. I was very corporate.
Yeah. It's always interesting. I have found most of the people that are ex-corporate tend to do things like what you did to minimize risk. Like, oh, they're closing, they know the market, it's another international space, and they do these kinds of things versus people that like don't know any better. They honestly they do crazy shit. And the thing is, most times the crazy, like either that stuff crashes and burns quickly, or that's the next unicorn versus the ex-corporate person, guy or gal, builds, call it a $10, $20 million company, but that's kind of where it gets like stuck at. Do you feel that you were like your experience in corporate made you less or, likely to take risk?
I wouldn't necessarily put it that way, but definitely maybe a little bit more stubborn. At the beginning, I did not want to raise capital. I wanted to bootstrap it all the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My thinking was, if people in the 50s could just start a business without VCs, why couldn't I? Right?
Yeah. And how, do you mind asking how old you are?
36.
So how many years did you spend in corporate?
About 15, 16.
Okay. Yeah. So that's a long time, right out of college.
Yeah.
And are you married?
No, I'm single.
Okay, I was going to say, was there a significant other that had any kind of influence on, hey, baby, keep your job that pays the bills?
No, I actually have a significant other that's fantastic. She also has her own startup.
Oh, that's interesting. Good. So when you met, was she startup and you were corporate?
No, she's a performer. She's a dancer. Uh-huh. And then she's actually extended her business here in New York to beyond performing.
Were you with her, though, when you went to the transition from corporate to startup?
Yeah, she was very patient.
I was going to say, what did those dinner conversations sound like? What was her biggest fear for you, even if it wasn't your biggest fear?
Actually, she was very happy because, the last few months and my last job were a little crazy. Mm-hmm. So she was happy to see that change.
What do you mean by crazy?
Well, basically, the company I used to work at grew very rapidly. So it became a little tough to actually manage projects and work, et cetera.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. What are next steps? I mean, how do you go from no revenue to your first $1 million in ARR?
Yeah. So basically right now we're raising about $1.5 million.
Okay. What valuation?
We already have 20% closed at a 10 million valuation.
Oh, great.
The 250 was raised at 3 million. So we've actually grown significantly in terms of valuation. Yeah.
And that's 10 million pre, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're doing it as a convertible note. It's interesting. The whole monetization conversation has kept us a little bit from actually closing rounds with VCs. So what we're going to do with that first investment is actually dedicated to monetize.
So just to be clear, you've established a convertible note that says we'll be able to raise up to 1.5 at a 10 cap. These are the terms. We're going to go ahead and close on the 20% right now, which will be about 300, 400 grand. You're using that money to start monetization, and then you will let additional investors roll in 2, 3, 5, 6 months down the line to fill out the 1.5.
Yeah, the 20% is of the total raise. So it's not of the valuation.
Yeah. So 20% of 1.5 is about 300.
Yeah, sorry, we're raising a range, so it's about $1 million to 1.5.
Oh, I see. Okay, so you right now you have to call it between 200 and 400 in cash already committed. You're using that.
We don't have it in cash yet.
Got it. Was it signed?
We are working on the term sheet this week.
I was like, come on, the number one rule in sales is not a sale until the money is in the bank.
We've actually had a pretty good relationship for the last few months, and it's actually a strategic partner too.
That's good. That's good. All right. And like, where will you spend that money? Is it on inside sales people? Is it something about onboarding to drive conversions up? How will that help with monetization directly?
So one of the things that we've adjusted in our strategy is that we want to be an end-to-end platform. We don't want to be just a marketplace. So we're going to use that money to actually, our strategy will be speed. So we need tech resources to actually be able to spit out features and put it in front of users very quickly in a matter of weeks at a time.
Are you nervous raising at a $10 million valuation with no revenue? In other words, there's a real risk you have to be able to grow into that valuation to raise additional capital.
To be quite honest, I don't know any better.
Hey, it sounds like your other folks maybe are leading the raise because they did the first 250 too. So maybe it sounds like you're more of the kind of the vision, the strategy guy.
Oh, actually, I'm the one leading the raise this time.
Why is that?
Location. Most of my partners are based in Spain. And even though we have some interest from Germany and from Spain itself, most of it is in New York right now.
Yep. Interesting. That's where you live, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, very good. Let's wrap up here, Jose, with the famous five. Number one, what's your favorite business book?
The Art of War.
Number two, is there a CEO you're following or studying right now?
Jeff Bezos always attracts me.
Number three, what's your favorite online tool for building the business?
Oh, that's a tough one. I don't have one off the top of my head.
Okay. And number four, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
I have to get my 8 hours.
8. All right. And what's your situation? Married, single, kiddos?
No, I don't have any kids. I have a significant other.
Yep.
Pretty stable.
Still a good one. She stuck with you through thick and thin. That's good.
She definitely did.
All right. And how old are you? 31, you said?
36.
36. Last question. What do you wish your 20-year-old self knew?
That you can do things incrementally. You don't have to plan everything up ahead.
Guys, you can do things incrementally. Remember that coming from Jose. Again, 15 years in corporate, then said, you know what, I'm going to do my own thing. Started his own company and merged it into Freshdeal, which he owns now a little bit less than 50% of. Again, they're growing the company up in New York. I also have a team in Spain, launched in 2015, team of 5 right now. They raised about 250 grand so far, currently doing another round, raising about 1.5, helping 6,000 companies right now using the platform for free. They put about $100 million in trade through the platform. The goal, basically decrease waste in this produce space. 40% goes totally to waste right now. And he thinks by building an end-to-end trading platform for this kind of things, we can get significantly more efficient, especially in this part of the supply chain. So Jose, thank you so much for taking us to the top.
Thank you, Nathan.